Tuesday, September 5th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we complain about that old classic HeroQuest. Let's do this. Well, we're back from a wonderful Labor Day weekend where we pretty much just labored over board games.
Sweet laboring.
I gotta say, Labor Day used to mean a lot more to me when I had school the next day.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot. Actually, if I figure mathematically, I did more work on Labor Day than on today.
Though, the thing is, I mean, Emily is back now, which is wonderful. But she was talking about how, like, she was getting ready for classes because she started school today.
Yeah, I drive by this high school on the way to work, and there haven't been cars at it for months, and today there were cars at it.
Yeah, and Emily was telling me about, I took this class and this class. She's showing him her schedule, and it's weird to think that I would ever even dream of thinking something like this. But I was a little jealous because I kind of miss starting new classes.
Yeah, it's like you remember, the kind of feelings you got on the first day of school, and around the country, perhaps the world, there are kids like that having those kind of feelings all this week and last week and next week. And, well, for us, it's normal days.
Yep, my Tuesday was no different than my previous Tuesday. I got up and I drove to Yonkers.
Yeah, I think part of why, I'm not 100% satisfied with my current job is like, previously in life, I'd have constant changes in things. Like, okay, I'm at school, now I'm at summer camp, I'm at school, now I'm somewhere else. I'd keep changing up every, twice a year.
Even just in college, different classes every 11 weeks.
Yeah.
Breaks all over the place.
Different classes, breaks, going on trips to places, going on family vacations, friend vacations. Now it's like, sure, I go to conventions here and there, but I always return to the same thing. And my baseline is static, and I need a baseline that goes all over the place to keep myself interested in life.
The problem is baselines that go all over the place either aren't conducive to the lifestyle we live or don't make enough money for us to live.
I know, it really sucks. I need to find a way to make money and also have a moving baseline. Because really, a moving baseline is the kind of life I like.
Yeah. I actually got a little jealous when she was explaining her classes to me, like what she was taking. Because I remember, I always hated my classes at RIT. Because, well, I liked signing up for classes. And I liked the first week of class. Because the first week, nothing bad happens. Nothing was assigned. You just meet your teachers and basically get to leave class early and hang out a bit.
Yep.
And then, all the slacking off. But I pretty much spend the rest of the quarter hating my classes, doing anything I can to get out of them early, show up to them late, or skip them.
And the description of what you're going to learn and the anticipation of what you're going to learn is great. Then actually learning it is not so great, except for like the few classes that are actually interesting.
Yeah, the sad thing is,
there's nothing I like more than learning, but learning, the stuff they teach me in most of the classes is not stuff I enjoy learning or want to learn.
Scott, I think I can name something that you possibly enjoy more than learning. Though one could consider it
learning.
A form of learning.
I enjoy learning.
See, learning is a euphemism here
yes.
for autoerotic stimulation.
Hey, I enjoy things more than that also.
Speaking of which,
you're assuming that doesn't involve learning new things.
Whoever it was who posted in the forums a little while ago about some kind of story that involves some kind of monkey biting some child's sexual member. Yeah, I believe it was already posted as advice, but you need to call Penn Jillette right now because I guarantee he'll put you on the radio.
Yeah, you need to do that quick.
And then when you're on the radio and you're telling the story, you need to relate in the story that the only reason you called is because your friends over at Geeknights told you to.
All right, I'm not going to be so shameless as to suggest
I'm going to be totally
that.
shameless. In fact,
I'm not going to actually say you should do that because I want to, keep my shame or not have shame. But
cover your shame.
I really, really want you to do that. That'd be awesome.
I mean, the only thing, it wouldn't be as useful, but it'd be funnier if you just said as many internet catchphrases as you possibly could.
Oh, really?
While you're on
yeah, really?
Like every time Penn says something, like, just be like, yeah, really.
Oh, my God. See, the thing is, I don't know if I could do that without just laughing hysterically instead of talking. Penn would be like, something, something, something. And I'd be like, yeah, really?
And then he'd probably ask why you're laughing. And then you'd try to explain it. And he wouldn't get it.
And then I would keep laughing.
All right, we'll see. Do something. If you just call Penn Jillette and tell him about it on the show, that'll be good enough. If the word Geeknights comes up in your conversation, you'll get a t-shirt when we make t-shirts.
Yeah.
And if you say Geeknights and you get in at least like 5 catchphrases, I'll kiss you on the mouth.
You also got try to say frontrowcrew.com.
Yeah.
If you don't say www though, not because I don't think you should say it, because I think you should, but because Penn Jillette will yell at you and that'll kind of ruin it.
Yeah, of course you could say it, and the moment he says anything, you say, nope, shut up, Penn, www.
Yeah.
And that would be funny.
And then they'll find out that the guy who is arguing against WW is the guy that he's promoting, and it'll be this great.
And then Michael Godot be like, wait a minute, Rim, some guy keeps sending me angry emails about this.
Be like, yeah, Rim's the guy who does this Geeknights thing. Oh, what's up with that?
That would be, or if you just said Baba Booey, Rim and Scott's penis.
You know what? If I don't hear it on the next Monkey Tuesday or the one after that, I'm going to call it in and pretend it's my story.
You know
I'll
what?
make up a good story about a monkey biting a penis.
I will too, and we'll both call in.
Yeah. So fair.
Anyway, because we don't have awesome new classes to take, or school is starting or anything, today's just another day, and all we did today was play board games. Well, one board game.
Yay.
Which, hate to brag, no, I don't absolutely love to freaking brag, but I'm on a goddamn roll when it comes to board games that involve bidding. I've won, like, every game we've played.
Vinci doesn't really involve that much bidding. But
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Every game, it's always been me, Scott, and Alex. Because now that Alex lives with us, we can play board games constantly. Every game, it's me and Alex are pretty much neck and neck, and then Scott is way behind.
I wasn't way behind yesterday.
Yes,
and
you
Raw.
were.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
I
and
wasn't,
now you weren't.
I wasn't way behind the last time. This 2 times ago we played Vinci.
Well, you were way behind in Raw at the very end when I got all those extra points.
No, because Alex is so far more behind. Like, you had like 60, I had like 40 something, and Alex had like 15.
Yeah, but Vinci, you're not doing so well at.
The latest Vinci, I was to suck. Next time, I will not to suck.
You were more than half a board away.
I was slightly less than half a board away. I just didn't add my points from the final turn.
Wouldn't have been so many.
It wouldn't have been, but it would have been less than half a board away.
Yeah, but in general, it's weird because like I always win the games, but Alex, he loses by like 1 point or like 2 points every time.
Yep.
We're trying to figure out is because we're kind of converging on like being as good at the game as we can be, or if it's just randomness because we are playing.
One of you is
variant.
actually good, and one of you takes all my points. And the question is, how many points did you take away from me versus how good
Scott,
is the other guy?
You realize in most 3-player games that you're involved in, I usually think, all right, how can I manipulate Scott? Because you try,
and I do my.
The only reason it works because you try so hard to not be manipulated by anyone that you tend to end up being manipulated by everyone.
That's no good.
Because everyone will always say things knowing you'll do the exact opposite, and then it just becomes a.
I just don't take what anyone says into account in making my decision. I just go by what I think is the best
What
move.
you think is always the worst move, at least in this game.
I did good 2 times ago.
You did well.
I did.
And no, you didn't.
I did good deeds.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You did nothing but conquer barbarians.
That's a good deed.
The barbarians.
Until the Hun's a bad guy.
But the barbarians in that game are nothing but peaceful.
No, they're very not peaceful.
They sit there. They got one guy.
No.
There were 8 people.
Guy.
All right. Anyway, we got some news.
So, there is a game, a very somewhat old game, called Mech Commander. Now, we like them Battletechs.
We used to play Battletech as often as we could at RIT, which wasn't often.
No, but Battletech is awesome. And the closest you can get to Battletech on the computer is, well, there's a thing called, what's it called? It's called, like, something mech. I forget. I forget the name of it, but it's like an open source thing with a poor interface that lets you play Battletech on the computer. Not the greatest thing in the world. But there is Mech Commander, which is a game made by Microsoft, who owns the video game rights to Battletech because they bought the FASA Corporation. And they made Mech Commander, which is essentially turn-based Battletech strategy, kind of, for the computer. And it is now free. So go to mechcommander.org, and you can play Mech Commander for free. Download the full version, just, boop, there it is. It's amazing.
Now, these sorts of, like, playing these, robot fighting games tend to be very realistic in the sense that that's how war kind of goes, because it's mostly just kind of random.
Yeah, the thing, BattleTech is sort of a sci-fi. What if we really did develop, bipedal walking war machines? What would they be like? And this is, it's a lot more realistic than, say, Gundam or Evangelion.
Now, Evangelion is perfectly realistic.
Not even close.
If the Christians are right.
Maybe. Yeah. It's just
possibly the Jews.
Yeah. But it also has, a crazy sci-fi outer space, super futuristic universe with clans and things and whatnot. But that is only the story, and it doesn't involve in the game.
It's no Gasaraki.
No, not really. But BattleTech is cool, Mech Commander's cool, and it's free. Free! Gratis free, not Libre free.
All right. This isn't video game related news, but this is now going to be subject to Jack Thompson syndrome, in that I won't talk about this again unless something crazy happens. But I have to talk about this one because this is pretty much the final straw that was nailed into the coffin that broke the camel's back. The Diebold voting machines are totally broken and easily hacked. Everyone knows that. It has been reported widely. There are videos everywhere showing how absolutely trivial it is.
They had a monkey do it.
Yes, that is not a joke. They trained a monkey to manipulate the results of a Diebold voting machine. Just now, well, a little while ago, someone did a little photo blog and they got a hold of some Diebold equipment. And there's this little seal thing that's supposed to show that no one was able to physically tamper with the memory card that holds the results. And they were able, now keep in mind, this isn't anyone special. This isn't an engineer or anything. With no training or skill or really anything whatsoever.
What about tools?
Like a screwdriver.
Okay.
They were able to trivially remove the seal, do whatever they wanted to the memory card, put the memory card back, and replace the seal as though it had never been removed, thus completely defeating the purpose of the seal. It can be done one-handed in less than 5 minutes.
Awesome.
Now, I'm wondering, because a lot of places use these machines. There's elections coming up, and there's a lot of geeks who are pissed off about politics. Now, I am not advocating that anyone do anything. Far be it from me to tell you to do something horribly illegal. But wouldn't it be funny?
I mean, you're behind a curtain when you're voting.
Wouldn't it be funny if a whole bunch of geeks all over the place just screwed with the results of every election they could?
And some crazy third parties won? Not bad crazy third parties,
no,
only good crazy third parties.
Here's the problem. It's the internet. So one activist would make, like, I don't know, the Green Party win. And then the next 4 guys would all make Chuck Norris win.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be the that's it. If everyone in the whole town wrote in Chuck Norris for mayor, oh, my God, that would be the best thing ever.
Either that or I'd just make 10 million. I'd make it. I mean, here's the thing. If I were to do something like this, which I'm not, and I'm not advocating that anyone do this because it is horribly illegal.
Yep.
I would make it so it showed, I don't know, 1 billion votes for like Ford prefect.
That would be awesome.
Because you don't want to actually manipulate the election. You just want to show people that, yeah, that machine was broken and it got hacked.
Yeah. If you do it to every voting machine in there, so let's say your local voting place has 5 Diebold voting machines.
In this hypothetical world,
you get
we're
5 nerds. One goes in each booth, and you hack each and every one of them, and then that place will have to redo their election, and they'll not use those machines the next time. And if they redo the election, go in and hack it again.
Yeah. It bothers me.
If they don't change the
It doesn't bother me so much that these voting machines are so bad. What bothers me is that it's widely known among geeks and technologists that the voting machines are completely broken and hackable. But the rest of the country has no idea, and the news doesn't report on this at all.
Well, I don't know what the news reports because I don't watch the news.
No one knows. No one knows. I defy you to find someone who doesn't read
but I think
/fartdig.
that this is finally time. We should just take advantage of it, and the geeks should take over the country.
Yeah, but you know what? They'd probably just shoot us with their guns. I mean, we've
if we vote,
we've all played a lot of Counter-Strike. Don't think that's going to help so much.
But if we voted into power, then one of us would be in charge of the armies, and then we'd win.
Somehow I see the hypothetical plan that we're not in any way advocating failing.
Exactly.
Yes. Once again, I'm not advocating that you in any way tamper with election results.
But go to, the website that shows how to do it and watch it and carefully.
You know, what really bothers me is that it's so easy to make an electronic voting machine that works.
Yeah, it
You
is.
and I, in a few days, could make a complete voting machine that was absolutely untamperable.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the hard part would be machining it.
Yeah, but the
The
software
physical-
part is nothing.
The software part is trivial. It has some memory, enough to store 2 really big numbers, a bunch of really big numbers for all the candidates, and it increments them whenever someone pushes a button.
Yeah, and then digital signatures to make sure it hasn't been tampered with.
Yep.
And then you print out what someone voted for, and it appears under glass. And then when they make their vote, that piece of paper also gets stored in the machine.
Mhm.
So no matter what, there's a perfect physical record.
Yep, just this big metal bucket.
Oh, Diebold, if you're listening, I'll work for half whatever you paid your lowest paid engineer to
Yeah.
design your voting machines.
Yeah, I would work for Diebold to design their voting machines if they paid me enough. And
Yeah.
they admitted that their other voting machines are crap and took them back.
You don't even have to admit it publicly. Just admit it to me and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I don't care if you lie to everyone else, but don't lie to me.
And also let us know if you rigged the elections before. That way,
Yeah, I'm curious.
we can blow the whistle.
I don't care because John Kerry probably wouldn't have been the best president either.
They
But-
both suck, but it's not the point.
That's not the point at all. And for everyone who's been kind of asking what our political affiliations were, if you can't figure that out by now. Anyway, things of the day.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now the Mississippi State Drum Corps did a pretty cool little video game related show recently that made it to a Kotaku, and there's a terrible, barely watchable video of it.
Yeah, at first I thought it was real cool, and it is really cool, but the video does not do the justice. In fact, it does it injustice.
Well, basically, the guy who filmed it is on the wrong side of the stadium, and he's got a crappy camera with a crappy microphone.
And he's kind of far away.
Yeah. However, you can kind of tell what's going on, and once you realize what's going on, you realize that had you been there, it would have been pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
And Mississippi, their marching band, their corps, is very large, as in 300 plus. That is a lot of people marching, and they can make very complex, very detailed marching forms. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, the buttons on their NES controller move.
Yeah.
And they had a cord on it.
They actually made a chord out of, I'm not going to use the term we used for them when I was in high school, but the flag corps people.
Mm-hmm. The flaggies?
No, nothing.
Flags?
No,
Okay.
it's far worse than that. Anyway,
So I found this cool game.
Flag
It's funny that, yeah. It's funny that both of my my news and my thing of the day today are free games. But
so what's free now?
Well, it's not a game that was not free and is now free, but this is actually a game that is free and might become not free. But there's a game some guy made called Zombie City Tactics, and you can download the Zombie City Tactics 1.0 for free from this guy's website. Now, Zombie City Tactics is like this incredibly simple turn-based strategy game for the PC on Windows. I'm sure it'll run in Wine just fine because it's just so simple. And all you do is they start you in a scenario in which there are zombies and they're your guys. And you basically, you take your turn as a square grid and you move your guys. And you can move them one space, north, south, east, west, or diagonal. Or you can make them stand still. And then the zombies move one space. And then you move one space. Now, if a zombie moves onto your guy, you die. If you move onto a zombie, it dies. So the idea is you want to move your guys onto the zombies, but you want to end your turn not being adjacent to zombies. Now, it gets a little interesting because you have some guys who can kill zombies from one space away without moving onto them. You have guys that can move 2 spaces. And there's a zombie generator making a constant stream of zombies. So I actually haven't figured out the pattern to beating the very first level yet. I don't know if I'm an idiot or what.
I think you should apply your much vaulted skills at Vinci
Yeah.
to solving this problem.
Yeah, and I only tried it 3 times. I'm pretty sure with a little more effort I would have figured it out. But it's pretty hard until you figure out what to do.
See, now, Scott, you got to be careful.
It's really interesting and simple.
I haven't played this game, and I'll bet many of our listeners haven't played this game. If even one of them solves it right away...
I don't think you will do it on the first try. However, I have one piece of advice. Read the README, because I didn't realize you could buy more units and stuff like that right away. So, yeah. But it's a cool, fun, free game. You should try it out.
You have learned well, my friends. Now is come the time of your first trial. You must first enter the catacombs which contain Felmog's tomb. You must seek out and destroy Verag, a foul gargoyle who hides in these catacombs. This quest is not easy, and you must work together in order to survive. This is your first step on the road to becoming true heroes. Tread carefully, my friends.
Wait, what if I don't go?
Well, then that just kind of fucks the whole game in the veritable ass now, doesn't it?
I think it does. I don't see too much motivation for the characters here. I
Now,
mean,
of course...
they should go into this catacomb and fight a gargoyle who never bothered them and doesn't even know who they are for no reason.
Now, here's the important part that Alex did not read to us when we played the first time.
Oh, okay.
Zargon, you may tell everyone that there are no traps or secret doors in this quest.
Oh, how did they know? If that means someone was down there already.
Yeah.
If we know that there's no secret doors or traps.
I got to say, the best part of this game is the flavor text.
Yeah, wait. If we knew that, that means someone's been down there, which means why do we have to go and fight if someone can already go down there, survive, and come back? I don't get it.
You know what? The game's not that well thought out. The
No,
game
it isn't. I think that is the number one thing that can be said about this game.
The game is HeroQuest.
Yes. HeroQuest it's a Milton Bradley, right?
It is a Milton Bradley.
It's an old Milton Bradley game that I'm pretty sure they don't make anymore because they make HeroScape now, which is something else entirely.
Now, the way HeroQuest works, it is a game that's kind of like old school beer and pretzel style D&D, but it comes in a box with everything you need. One person plays, God, what's the stupid thing's name? Zargon.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically the dungeon master. You control all the monsters. You have the book that I'm holding in my hand right now that shows you, where everything is and how to deal with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are basically adversarial to the party, which consists of up to 4 people who play 4 different characters. The elf, the dwarf, the barbarian, and the wizard.
And all you do, really, is there's a square grid, and you roll dice to see how much you move. So every character moves, and then the monsters move, and then the characters move and the monsters move. And if they're adjacent, they can fight, and you roll dice to see how you fight. And there's no levels or anything. There's just equipment, and you can search for treasure to get more equipment and gold, and if in between levels, you can use gold to buy equipment. And that's about it. It's the players versus the dungeon master in a just dungeon crawl. And if there's going to be any role-playing, the game isn't going to help you at all with that. It's all you.
The game, in fact, kind of really prevents any sort of role-playing. There is no way to talk to anyone you meet. There is no way to bargain with anyone. There is no way to in any way interact with anyone by any means other than your sword.
Yeah, there's pretty much the only things you can do in this game are walk, search for treasure, search for traps, search for secret doors, and fight.
Now, fighting is composed of attacking with a weapon or casting a spell, possibly, if you are the kind of person who can cast spells.
Mm-hmm. And all of it pretty much comes down to randomness. I mean, you either play a card, and it just works, or you roll some dice to see how much damage goes down.
Well, what it really comes down to is that it is a fun game for, like, a father to play with his kids, or
like
a mother
you.
to play with her kids, or like if I'm Uncle Rim someday to someone's kids, I'll run this game for them because little kids can have a lot of fun with this game. And when I was a kid, I actually played all of HeroQuest with my dad and my little brother and occasionally my mom.
Yeah, I didn't play it until college.
Wow. See, when I saw HeroQuest at Arweg, I thought, oh, and this whole flood of memory came back because I played the barbarian and my little brother played the elf, and occasionally my mom would play, and when she did, she was the dwarf. And we went through the entire thing where my dad was the DM, and he, played the game much more evilly than he probably could have. He basically, the monsters are all complete chumps. Except for the super badass monsters.
Yeah, basically every monster has 1 hit point. So you just hit it once and it dies.
A few monsters have more hit points.
A couple monsters have 2. And pretty much in any dungeon, most of the monsters you're going to meet have 1. So you just kill them all. And then there's one boss who has more than 1 hit point. and you just gang up on him to beat him in like 1 or 2 turns.
Now, the only way the game is not broken, really, is if you play it with people who aren't going to play the game optimally. Like a bunch of kids, they won't know the optimal way, and they won't figure out the optimal way to beat this game.
Yeah, they'll have fun just walking around, exploring a dungeon, rolling dice, and moving a guy. I mean, if you like Candyland, HeroQuest is that much better.
Well, also, the game is really well done in that it has a big board with a bunch of rooms on it, and the game is revealed to you, and each setup is different as you walk around.
Yeah, and as things are revealed, like this cool plastic furniture that comes out.
Yeah, the props that come with this game are numerous. However, I will note that the props, while they're all fairly well done, have absolutely no gameplay purpose whatsoever.
However, they can sometimes get... Well, no, that's not true. Sometimes they give hints as to the treasure that is in the room, and sometimes not.
As in, there's a treasure chest in the room. If you search for treasure, you'll probably find something.
But sometimes there's a treasure chest in the room, and you search for treasure, and there isn't any. And sometimes there'll be like a cabinet in the room, and you'll search for treasure, and it'll say, in the bookcase you find whatever. And it's like, oh my god, the flavor text matched the furniture.
Yeah. Now, I know later in the game, because I don't remember everything, but later in the game, there's like a fireplace, and when you pull it, it moves away, and it makes a secret door, and there's stuff back there.
Yep.
The game is, honestly, it's really only fun if you're a little kid, and the game is made to be adversarial. It's basically the Dungeon Master against the players. It's not really balanced, so the Dungeon Master is probably going to lose. It's not
Unless
like...
he cheats.
Now, when I played, it was just me and my brother most of the time as a kid, so my dad basically had to play suboptimally or we would have just died. So he just kind of made it fun for us kids.
Mm-hmm. I think it either has to be that way or it doesn't work because, I mean, there's some games that are, just like this, kind of like Dracula, where Fury of Dracula. Dracula is sort of like the evil wizard in that, it's him versus the players, but really he's just making the game interesting for the players. Or what's the Doom, where one guy controls the demons and everyone else controls Doom guys, and you're controlling the demons, you can win. And Mutant Chronicles and all the other similar type games. But in HeroQuest, the DM really can't win, and the other games he can.
Now, there are a lot of expansions to this game. There was a barbarian and an elf solo quest.
Whoa.
That I owned as a kid. There are also a whole bunch of other expansions that Alex has, and I also had. And then there are things like Advanced HeroQuest, which we won't talk about.
I don't know anything about it, so we can't talk about it.
I never actually played it or saw it in person, but it looked real fancy.
Yep. Generally, the problem with HeroQuest is that if you are an intelligent person, you will realize that, number one, monsters can't open doors. So, in any given map, if there aren't any, monsters about, like you've killed every monster that's, roaming the hallways and every monster in all the rooms you've already opened, then there can't possibly be a monster unless you decide to search for treasure.
So, I guess at this point what we'll do is we'll describe how we caused Alex to pull all of his hair out.
Yes. And so you have a map, every door is closed, and there are no monsters. Which means nothing can happen to the players unless they search for treasure or open a door. Now you roll dice to see how many spaces you move. Well, if there are no monsters and you don't search for treasure, the only, you basically roll a bunch of, you don't have to roll dice. You just go wherever you want to go for free.
Because essentially what you do is you roll the dice, move, roll the dice, move, roll the dice, move, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can just keep rolling forever and ever and ever, and nothing can ever happen to you or change. You can do that till the end of time, until you have your little, your adventures in the exact squares you want them to be in.
So what did we do? We arranged ourselves seating-wise in the optimal player order. We would then arrange ourselves perfectly outside of each door. I would then say, I take 12, meaning I'm informing Alex that I'm going to sit here and roll 2d6 continually until I roll a 12.
And
then,
everyone is just going to stand still outside the door until they roll a 12.
Yes, and then basically I said we didn't have to actually roll it out because obviously it's going to happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'd kick open the door, rush in, and kill everything.
Yeah, basically, because we choose what order we go in, we can kill all the monsters because they only have one hit point before they have a chance to even hit us.
Occasionally, a monster would survive long enough to hit at us once.
And it might not hit because we'd collect all the equipment. I mean, then we would arrange ourselves in each and every room perfectly, search for treasure once to make sure there wasn't any default treasure, and the worst that would happen is one monster would show up, which we'd immediately kill.
I just wonder where that monster came from. We're in a tiny room. It's completely empty.
He was like the Predator. He was invisible, and then it ran out. So then he's like, "Oh shit!" and then we got him. You know, that's where that monster came from. And we would do this for each and every room in the game until we collected all the treasure and beat all the bad guys. Rinse and repeat. The game is boring if you know what you're doing.
3 treasure chests have been stolen while being taken to the Emperor. A reward of 240 gold coins has been offered to any group of heroes who can return the chest and all of the gold.
See, now, it would be much cooler if it was, say, 2 groups of 2 heroes competing to get the treasure, or if it was, like you met other adventurers down there who were NPCs who you'd fight to get the treasure, or something like that.
Here's the thing. One of the things that bothers me about the game, though, I'm not going to complain about the game because the game is made for little kids.
Yeah.
But I remember this.
Milton Bradley people.
Now, I am reading ahead in the book, which if Alex ever wants to run the game for us, I just spoiled something. But I'll note that I've played through all of HeroQuest before.
Yeah, you don't remember it, though.
But I remember this one, and that's why I want to talk about it.
All right.
Now, think about what I just said. A reward of 240 gold coins has been offered to any group of heroes who can return the chests and all the gold. So, we go off to get the chests. And if you beat this dungeon, you find that there are 3 chests, each of which contains 250 gold coins.
So why
That's
would you
750 gold, plus a whole bunch of other items of value to the prince and emperor.
So why would you give it back to the king? Just keep it.
All right, here. I'll read the text under here. There are 3 chests. They are marked with the prince's royal symbol. Each chest is locked and contains 250 gold coins and other items of value to the prince and emperor. A hero can carry only 1 chest at a time. When carrying a chest, the hero may only roll 1 red die for movement.
All right.
The heroes cannot keep the gold inside the treasure chests.
Why not?
The heroes cannot keep the gold inside the treasure chests, period.
Why even specify how much is in there? Why not make it some other MacGuffin?
Because they're sadists. Because I remember when I was a kid, and we were kind of weak, and my dad kind of cheated, and he gave like all the monsters magic, and he was just punning us. But we ended up like getting the monsters in the chest room to chase us away, and we ran back in and grabbed the chest and kind of bit by bit got the 3 chests out. And then we had the dwarf pick the lock, and we opened him, and we were like, we're just not going back, we're keeping the gold. And my dad says, you can't keep the gold. And I said, why not? And I said, you just can't keep, and he said, you can't keep the gold. And my brother and I raised holy living hell over that.
Uh-oh. Rim.
What?
Breaking news for Rim.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. You ready?
I'm ready.
Capcom Classics mini mix screenshots. On September 19th, Capcom will release Capcom Classics mini mix for the GBA. The game re-releases the NES versions of Strider and Mighty Final Fight and Bionic Commando.
Oh my god!
On a GBA cart for $19.95.
That is already purchased. Oh, good god. When is this coming out?
September 19th, 2006. Look, his screenshots. Look.
Good fucking god.
It's just an emulator of Bionic Commando.
I hope they don't dumb down Bionic Commando.
It's the NES game, just default. It's an emulator. You're basically buying, an NES emulator and a ROM on a GBA cartridge.
That game, Bionic Commando.
It's also Mighty Final Fight and Strider.
Yeah, Strider was okay.
Yeah.
But Bionic Commando is probably my second favorite Nintendo game ever.
All right, HeroQuest. But that was breaking news that could not be denied. I just found it.
It is gaming day, so it fits.
Yep. Okay, HeroQuest.
Anyway.
Not as good as Bionic Commando.
The heroes cannot keep the gold inside the treasure chests.
No, they can't. But Bionic Commando can steal your coins with his Bionic card.
The other thing I find fascinating about this game is that the way it's set up, there are a whole bunch of quests. And the second quest is really easy, and the third quest is really easy, and they get progressively more difficult as you go on, but not unmanageably so.
Yeah, it's like the first quest is way harder than the second, third, fourth,
Well,
and
that's
fifth.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
But you kind of ruined it. I was going to build it up and do something funny.
Oh, well.
But instead, you just came out with it.
Yeah, I just
Anyway.
jumped right out there.
So I'm going to pretend Scott didn't say that.
Okay.
Now, then you go back and you realize that there's, quest 1, because I said it starts at quest 2 and gets easier. Quest 1 is harder than any other fucking quest in this whole game. Oh my good god, do the monsters just rape you in the ass repeatedly?
Well, I think part of it is that in the first level, you have no items and no equipment.
Also,
And-
there are more monsters than in like any other dungeon in the first one.
Yeah, because I think what they want to do is, the first time you're playing the game, that's what you're going to do. So, they want to make sure that it's a
No, they want to scare
interesting-
you. Because one of these rooms, probably the most bitching room in the game, is, I mean, there's a room with a tomb and a whole bunch of crap, and there's stuff all over the place. And there's really, really dangerous things to fight everywhere. And the heroes are barely going to survive. One room has 2 Chaos Warriors, which are pretty much the badasses of this game. In that room is a treasure chest. In that treasure chest is Bupkis.
What?
Bupkis.
Bupkis. Oh my god.
Also, there's an armory in the first dungeon. You go into this armory and there's monsters defending it, so you kill them. What would you think you would do if you just killed monsters and there's an obvious prop of a whole bunch of nice shiny weapons?
Take the shiny weapons.
The weapons on this weapons rack are chipped, rusted, and broken. There is nothing here that the heroes would want.
They're better than my nothing. I'm using nothing at the beginning of the game.
No, you had a serviceable short sword, and I had a serviceable long sword. No, I didn't even have a long sword. I had a broadsword.
I would rather take a chipped and rusted bastard sword than a serviceable short sword.
Well, hey, at least you bought that stick and then immediately found a stick.
I know, it's like I paid how many gold for a stick?
100.
I paid 100 gold pieces, which is like, God, $10,000, all right, for a stick that I could have gotten in the woods for free. And then I'm in a dungeon killing things with my stick. And you know what I find? A stick. Yeah, okay, there's a stick. Yeah.
Oh.
Great.
Ooh, I
Awesome.
probably shouldn't look at this so much, but I just flipped through, and I was going to say that the nice thing about this game that I thought was really cool, especially as a kid,
Mhm.
is that it gives you in the back a template where you can make your own dungeons. They urge you to photocopy these 2 pages and then cut and paste with, your little paste and scissors and make dungeons and continue playing the game.
Mhm.
So the game has basically infinite playtime.
Yeah.
And I see here that Alex or someone in his family has at some point made in pencil a dungeon, and the goblins look really, really happy.
Really? Let me see the goblins.
The goblins are cute little happy goblins.
You'll have to give me the little paper. Let me check the goblins out. Oh, happy goblins. Yeah, I think Alex did this.
Yeah, I wonder if he knows it's in there.
Maybe.
Alex, by the way, is our dungeon master, among other things. He is one of our staunchest board game players, and he's currently downstairs playing Final Fantasy Legend 2. He may or may not be listening to us while we record the show live.
Yeah, I don't know, but he drew happy.
He did mention at one point that he feels like listening to Geeknights is redundant if you live with Rim and Scott.
Yeah, I guess that would be exactly true because this is what we say. And
Yeah, you realize when we start recording, it's pretty much in the middle of a conversation just like this. And when we stop recording, we continue this exact conversation.
Mhm.
Geeknights could go almost 24/7.
Oh, well, there really aren't that many dungeons in this game.
No.
Oh, wait, if you look at the size of Dungeon 1 and just compare it to the sizes of the other dungeons,
Yeah.
and the number of green guys and furniture is just way more. Right.
And just remember, HeroQuest is really fun in college to play a little bit with people who don't know what this game is about.
Yeah, HeroQuest is good if people don't know how to play, if people are little kids, or if people are drunk.
It's also really fun if you played it as a kid to play it again just enough to realize how much smarter you are now.
Oh, there's a castle of mystery. That's pretty cool. Okay, so this game can get a little creative, but it still doesn't fix it entirely.
And I hate to say it, but that's it. I would have read the flavor text from beating HeroQuest,
But
but
that's a spoiler.
it's so anticlimactic that I could not bring that pain upon you.
Yeah. Anyway, in terms of meta bits, the only thing I think is if you apply for membership to the forums, which you should if you're not already a member of the forums, then you do not receive an email that says, "Congratulations, you are now a member of the forums." You got that email. Your spam filter just filtered it out, especially if you're using Hotmail. So if you apply to the forums, just come back like a day later and just sign in, and it'll work.
And of course, the forums are rocking as always.
Mm-hmm.
The forums are practically an entire separate show at this point.
Yeah, so
because-
go to frontrowcrew.com, everybody.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, I just realized. Here's the real flavor text, which I won't read because it's an entire page.
Oh, okay.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.